Welcome, everyone, to Final Fantasy Randomizer. As you can see, we've already started the VOD review going. The timer is going, although the timer is meaningless. We are doing a VOD review of Jacob, myself, Darkmoon, and Luffy here are in the booth, and we're checking stuff out, and I see that we have Telemagic on a White Mage. I actually already missed what's on the fighter, but I can go back unless you took notes. Didn't you take notes, Luffy?
I didn't write down the blur-sings. I didn't think it mattered super much. I know.
Luffy!
Those I did not write down. I did write down some questions about party composition. First off, I just want to say hi, Jacob, if you're out there. How are you? If you can answer a question from me in chat, I want to know, how many seeds have you run? Like, how many times have you played these flags before? I just have a question because you're going to hear a lot of the word routing tonight.
Yes.
And that can very easily be fixed because you clearly know what you're doing.
Bottle at King of Canaria, that is a useless hint. And we... Oh, I'm gonna... Okay, we've got Warp, we had Telemagic, and then we have Quad X and also Ruse and Harm 2. So, I'm gonna start speeding this up and run us at 2.5 times or 1.5 times or something. Yeah, let's go 1.5 times.
Yeah, 1.5. 1.5.
It's gonna go fast.
That's what I watched it at.
Yeah, we're gonna go fast because we're gonna be emphasizing certain things. He's running, he's doing his thing. We want to discuss stuff. Routing is going to be my biggest thing to emphasize. You've got Telemagic, you've got Warp. You want to make sure you use those properly. I like the reset right there when you got into a fight. That's good. And an Ice Sword +1, excellent. Yep.
You did not buy Quad X for the Black Mage in Canaria. That's a Garland solution right away. Don't sleep on that spell when you see it. And you do buy Harm 2 for the White Mage, but you don't use it ever, and I want to know why.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Quad X is an automatic thing. I mean, the Ice Sword is great, but you weren't guaranteed to get the Ice Sword there. Yeah. So, okay, with Shard Hunt, he hasn't done a lot of them. He's more used to entrance rando. Wow.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Okay. You clearly know what you're doing.
Yes.
But there's definitely some routing choices that I thought were interesting when I watched this. I couldn't run the seed for comparison because it didn't look like it was the Duck Weekly. It looked like it was similar flags, or maybe exactly the same, but a different seed.
Okay, so here is a point that has been emphasized to me by Chanigan and some others, which is you have the TNT, so you decided to go to Dwarf, which I understand the impulse. Provoca is there. And I'm assuming in this flag set, we'll find out there's a shard. I'm assuming in this flag set, Provoca is Provoca. So
Provoca is Provoca,
Provoca is Provoca. So because of that, I mean, you got the Canoe. Canoe is great. That opens up potential. But you still have the item at Provoca to check, and now you're actually walking away from it. Most people will tell you, go do Provoca first, even when you have the Dwarf item. Because, if nothing else, Bicky could have another Dwarf item. Yeah, so, and then you're being forced into a double dip when you could just do a single one.
Yeah, you're not gonna go there for quite a while either. It's a long time before you get over there with the routing you choose, and that's not a bad thing. But it's definitely it was a choice. So you should have. Provoca didn't end up burning you. There's not good magic there, so it didn't hurt here. But
you didn't know that.
Next time.
But you didn't know that. Yeah, that's a problem right there. Also, what if Bicky had the floater? And you just got the Canoe. Like, you could be, like, if you're doing a walking tour of the Circle C, which, don't get me wrong, I have done plenty of walking tours of the Circle C. like that meme of just staring off into the distance, you know? But if the floater was there, you've given up maybe 40 minutes to your opponent who's gone to Provoca first. You just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this looks like, Shard Hunt with treasures that are going to be near or at incentive spots. So
too loose as well.
I want to point out, I quickly noticed you walked up from the bottom of a room, then over to the stairs. Always walk along the bottoms of rooms. That's a routing thing. Always walk in front of doors. You didn't walk in front of a door at that other room. We have maps specifically for knowing where to walk. Study those maps because you will save steps by only walking on the unsafe tiles that you have to walk on. Only walking on unsafe tiles when you have to means you're going to take less fights. Yes, it's in the wiki. It's the it's the maps with routing rooms, incentive items, and just about everything else you could ever want on the new player guides. So those routing maps are there and they're good. We got the Ruby. Ruby is not instantly useful. There was one other thing I want to point out. Luffy, you go I think.
Yeah. I was questioning why you bailed on the dungeon at this point. There are still 2 loose out there, so that was very bold of you.
Yeah, that is something important. When there are loose items in the pool and Shard Hunt in the pool, You gotta check every dungeon, every chest in every dungeon that you're going to. And Marsh, this early in the game, has a lot of chests. I hate it, but Marsh isn't that bad when you have exit and warp, and you've got plenty of charges.
Yeah. I thought you'd be able to clean that dungeon pretty easily and bailed out of there. It didn't end up hurting you. There wasn't much there that you needed that I know of.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something to think about in the future moving forward. You want to open boxes in this flag set, and you want to be careful about the loose items as well.
I do like the fact that you've kind of half-learned the encounter table, and you're trying to reset past certain encounters to get through them. That's appreciated. That's a very good skill to develop.
Those Hydras end up being a nightmare for you as well.
Okay, you looked at the menu about as long as I look at the menu, and you're at 1.5 speed right now, so you looked at that menu for a while. I get it. And there's the crown, so if you'd gone the other way from Provoca, or were on the ship, you'd have to go do the turn-in. Now you have a walking tour. You kind of get what we're saying about the direction. Like, it sucks. I understand the impulse to go check dwarves first, because you got the TNT. Sometimes you just have to put that impulse down.
Definitely think about finding some junction points, like right there where there's a junction pivot in the river system, to learn how to save there with a 10th as well. You reset back quite a few times in this seed to a town, which could be avoided if you learn how to save a little bit. You fix it later on at certain points, but you see these Hydras are just murdering you here in the rivers. Like if you're saving there, you save yourself time. Yeah,
you've lost like probably 2.5 minutes so far to that same spot, resetting back to Crescent Lake over and over again. And that happens to me regularly, I understand. But yeah, it hurts. So
thinking of going out of your shard. Okay, I see what you're saying. But it can be tricky. In a shard hunt, you want to open boxes. So if you're not used to this mode, it can be a definite shift in mindset.
Although you're unlikely to get all the shards you need to finish the game on the Circle C, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility. And the second you have all of your shards, loot, and key, you're in go mode. You only technically need 2 key items to finish a shard hunt, because you just need to know where Toph is. There's your tail. You just need to know where Toph is so you can finish the game.
Yeah. That tail was nice for you to see right here.
Rich raises a valid point. Why isn't the thief in the lead?
Yeah, I definitely wrote that down. That could have saved you a lot of grief and a lot of fights. You get ambushed quite a bit. If that thief is in slot 1 for you, its agility and luck is going to give it a lot of run chance and a lot of ability to dodge hits in battle and would not be getting murdered. And it looks like slot 2 is a bad slot to begin with, because this thief, even with all his agility, gets murdered the entire time.
Well, and also note, if you had Quad X, you've done enough damage that even if Astos rolled up, you'd be able to Quad X them.
Yep, and there's another reset back to a town. And you save outside of Northwest Castle here. You know, you get it. But definitely think about that and get used to it.
Yeah, you always want to make sure that you're saving right outside of dungeons. I tend to buy, like in flag sets like this, you start with side items, but I tend to buy like a 10 or 20 stack of tents as soon as I can, so that I can save outside of every dungeon. That way, if I have to reset out of it, then I'm automatically right back at the entrance. And because, I mean, you lost like 20 seconds there. It's just another one of those routing things you got to get used to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And definitely be learning how to fire out harm with that white mage, because she could be doing damage right now, and you're either swinging or waiting, and she does nothing for you this whole seed for the most part.
Yeah,
you bought the harm too, just use it.
If you're not going to use the magic from the white mage for attacking, then take a red mage instead. Or a second black mage. Yeah. In a race situation, you've got to be doing everything you can to, get going as fast as possible. I'm assuming we're heading back to Provoca now.
So let's see in my notes. Let's see. We're going to Provoca, and I'm going to keep talking about harm too.
Also, you ran around that little divot there by the bridge that's in the continent. You can walk over that divot. That would have saved you 2 steps. Yeah,
it's so weird to walk over that. Yes, the flags normally are checked are white mage harm all, so that harm spell would do damage to all enemies. It kind of makes the white mage a little more viable in most metas nowadays. So something else to remember.
That was a flag added sometime last year, and it's on by default in all the flag sets now. Like you people have to go out of their way to not have white mage harm all on at this point. Yeah. So, White Mage Harm all, Soft in battle, Life 1 in battle. I think those are all on by default in just about every flag set now.
Yeah.
See, Crystal. May as well go to Provoker first, because if Vicky gives you something like that, you can do another quick turn and end. I think this flag set, if this is the one that I ran, that was loose with too loose with Shard Hunt. I think that's what Saracen made me run. That one definitely was EXP based on key items and not shards. Yeah.
You skip out on buying the what was in slot 4? Exfer. Again, it's a spell that remember, like Quad X, Exfer, these are useful spells if you can find them in the first couple levels. So buy those, because that'll lose the defense, and that'll make your ice 3s or fire 3s on enemies do even more damage on a boss. So they can be very useful. They can help Brack hit, they can help Bane hit. Don't sleep on that spell.
Luffy and I are in disagreement on that, because I find that when I use it, Exfer never lands, and then when it does land, the boss always dies before I get a chance to cast anything else.
It's true.
So
it's true.
It does improve your chances, and on a boss that has enough MDef to prevent some stuff from going. Oh, see, when you're loose, and a ribbon. Oh, that would have made a lot of your navigation earlier a little easier. And your key, so you have more checks to do. Wow. Yeah. See. And this is the thing. You went and you did Dwarf to Northwest, or Northwest on the way. Dwarf to Marsh to some other stuff. You came back and did Provoka. But Provoka had Crystal from Vicky. Crystal turned into Matoya, which I can't remember what you got. But the ship was loose in her box. And the ship is automatically making the siege travel faster, which means you would have gotten to Marsh quicker. You could have gotten around to Astos quicker. You had the canoe on you, so obviously you can just park at the river system there. There's a lot of stuff that goes faster this way. That would have been better if you'd done Provoka first. So while Luffy is saying you didn't get penalized for not going to Provoka first, I actually kind of feel like you did.
I meant the magic didn't kill him.
No, and there's your canal. So if you'd done these first, and then you wouldn't even have to go to Marsh immediately. You could bail. There will be people that you're racing, they'll be like, oh, I have all this, and the canal's open. I don't even have to go to Marsh yet. Screw Marsh. Let's go check something else. They'll go and do Earth, or I think were the Bahamut boxes on in this? They might have been. You could go check the Bahamut boxes. That's the thing. Pay attention and do the early routing that feels traditional first, because it's traditional for a reason. It's not that this is all part of the learning process, not a dig on you at all. I do this too. I'll be like, oh, I got the TNT. I'm going to go check the doors. And then I have to remind myself, no, don't do that. Don't. Rehab Submarine. Do you all check Matoya before Provoka with loose items? I do. I don't think everyone does. Luffy, I don't know actually what you do.
Usually I'll check those 3 boxes if there's loose. It very often, Submarine says that, we find something that's useful there.
Brackstick's nice. I will do it, but what I'll do is I'll pop a house or cabin right at the... Oh, by the way, if you had the thief up front, you probably wouldn't get ambushed here. But I'll pop a cabin right at that little tip of the mountain before the path up to Matoya.
Yep.
Yeah, and I will do that there. Then if she doesn't have anything in her boxes that I care about, I reset back down and continue my walk over to Provoka. Save a few steps.
Yep.
Yeah. I have played enough of Archipelago where everything is reset that, you get kind of ruthless with your resetting after a while.
Yeah, you almost have to retrain yourself when you're not playing AP to not do it as badly.
So, in this particular instance, you get the rod, and while technically speaking, FFR doesn't have logic. If you ask the devs, what's the logic chain for something like this? They'll be like, there is no logic in FFR. There still kind of is, because the game makes sure that you can beat the seed and that everything is accessible. This is one of those instances, and I'm not sure whether or not you're going to do it immediately, but you have the rod. The game gave it to you, and it gave it to you early. Go do Earth. Good. You're doing it. But that's for everyone watching. Go do Earth when you get the rod this early, because the game is telling you there's something in Earth you want.
All right, let me look at my...
check the boxes on the first floor.
Here.
Make sure you check the boxes on the first floor, and then go up to the top. If there's nothing there, reset. Go check the 2 sides of the bottom. If there's nothing there, reset. Check all the boxes on this floor because it's a loose flag set. Plus, you want shards. And I know Earth is not fun to clear out. It's like one of the slowest dungeons to clear out. But you came in here, check all the boxes, because if you get the shards, you get what you need. Harm 2, so you see again, the Harm 2 light axe right there, for that could go on your white mage, and they can use unlimited casts of damaging Harm 2 with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is so much to improve on, Jacob. That's why we do these VOD reviews. I'm only good enough now to be able to maybe win a game in Winter Tournament after 4 years of play. So you're going to be better than I am because you've got people training you. But it takes time. Don't hold it against yourself. It just takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Luffy came in after me, and he's better at the game than I am. That's how this works. I've almost beaten you a couple times.
This is true. We have had some good matches.
We have. Statistically, it's insinuating Earth. Now, yes, that's exactly right. Statistically speaking...
Mm-hmm.
And you see, you check that box and you got a shard. We want the shards. Yeah. Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, something in here, that pack had Death Touch. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
This was bad for you when I saw this. I'm like, oh, how are we going to handle this? Are we going to keep going? Can we get through this vampire? Harm 2, again, is going to do work for you here. But the Ice 3 definitely feels bad as well. Your magic was kind of poor early on. That's not your fault.
Normally, I hate doing a lot of over-menuing, but this might have been in this particular very slight instance. This might have been one of the few times where I would have moved the light axe over to the thief and had them casting on the vampire along with the white mage. Also, I know that you lost a character, and it's hard to resist the impulse of get out and go. I would have finished the dungeon if I could have. Try and clear it. Yeah.
So I wrote down that slab as an item for you, but it's not very helpful. To me at this point, I'm thinking Ordeals is my answer. I know Ice Cave is out there. I know Volcano is out there, but I would go to Ordeals here if it was me.
Well, you and I are in agreement on that. Oh, I have the canoe. I have a way out of the inner sea. Always been on Ordeals. First
I would have
step.
been at Ordeals 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You and I would both be there and simply going, I bet you the floater's here.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, you were in Earth, you had the rod. If you leave and your opponent doesn't, they gain 5 minutes on you.
Yeah.
So.
Again, with the shard hunt, you can make up those 2 shards you would get from, Lich's Orb by opening boxes, but you don't know. Like, if your opponent clears Earth, what if there's 5 shards, on, the Lich's closet floor? I mean, it's crazy. You never know.
I love Ordeals. Ordeals is my thing.
Yeah.
Yep. There are a lot of people who are like never Ordeals, because, I mean, it can suck, especially if you... Wait, and you have Warp, so it doesn't suck, but it can suck if you go in there and the maze is particularly awful.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the number of times I have seen specifically Floater in Ordeals, like, it's just... It's kind of cursed blessed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Fade and Nuke, both at level 6, that's...
Yeah.
Thanks, game. Thanks.
The magic was not very kind to you.
No.
You don't really buy a lot of cheap houses for only 360-ish gold. You should have like 10 of them right now to help you be able to save and be spamming spells in some of these trash fights you end up taking.
I'm assuming Volcano isn't incentivized, so I'm okay with going and doing Ice first, even though your spells aren't exactly great for Ice. You've got Ice spells and Harm 2, which is... But yeah, like, after you're done here... I'm sorry, my brain went red chat for a second and I lost my place. After you're done here, you're in proximity. That's another routing thing. Proximity is key. We emphasize this a lot. Do Volcano while you're here, because you might get the shards you need. Plus gear. You never know. You are lacking for gear. I really feel like Volcano is a good play for you.
The gear is lacking. The cash is lacking.
Experience is lacking.
It is. Level 13 is not terrible. And this Ice Cave, you're about to see Dark Moon. This Ice Cave is a thing.
See, and my gut says if I'm level like 10 to... Oh my god.
Yeah, this Ice Cave's a thing.
that alone... Like, normally I have a rule. I will dive a dungeon 3 times. Like, if I fail it 3 times, I will, like, dive it again and again until I get those 3 fails, and then I will leave if I'm not making any progress. Yeah. But when I see a common enemy in a dungeon with damage poison that can instantly wipe my party, I'm leaving on the first round. Like I'm sitting here going, yeah, the math is not here for me getting through this dungeon. Especially when, like, I don't know what the tiles are, but there's a chance that I'm going to find a mage tile in here, and they're going to have damage poison, and I die. Oh, and... No, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm gone already. This is not the dungeon.
This ice cave is horrible.
No. This is a leave. You leave now. You go do volcano and hope for a second ribbon. Also, I guess the white mage must have the ribbon on.
The white mage does have the ribbon, yeah. And
I'm hoping for a second
choice
ribbon.
later on with
where you
have that ribbon.
See,
this ice cave is terrible.
You have 2 packs here that are hideous. And you don't have the magic to kill them. You have harm 2. Like, I would... no.
We don't even have fire 2.
No. Fire would be doing damage right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gross. This is gross. I was asking if I'm going to be diving the WT seed on Sunday. I'm not playing the WT seed on Sunday because I'm already far enough behind in points that I'm statistically out of the Plata party. Thank you very much. Also, you don't have the firepower to kill this fight. Just run from it. Yeah.
Yeah, this Gurpeed is a waste of a fight for you. It's not a lot of XP. It's a waste of your time.
I'm not even certain with the firepower and strength that you have right now that you could kill a regular Peed. So...
You have some choice, ways
I want to
pause
for a second.
Dungeon as well.
I want to pause for a second.
You could have used Warp, and you could have used something to help you with this fight. Yeah.
There was so I'm going to illustrate. There were the 3 chests here in a V on the floor above, and you checked the chest here on the upper left, and then you walked over and walked down on the left side of the box. Instead of checking that box right then, walk into the middle of the V, drop down into that hole, and use Warp, which you have, to pop back up, and you can check all 3 chests right there floating on the hole before walking up and walking back down. Then you don't have to do the whole loop of the dungeon again to get that middle chest. When you have Warp, use Warp.
Yep.
Okay.
And it looks like you probably didn't know that. Yeah, so that's just something to remember moving forward.
Yeah. If you don't... It's not... The thing is, there's tricks for that in this and in... Like, you used Exit in Earth Cave when you're not supposed to be able to use Exit because you don't get that in Earth Cave.
Yeah.
And then Ordeals is going to have, like, you can warp between the Ordeals teleporters if you take the wrong teleporter. Those are all things you couldn't do in the vanilla game because you didn't get the tail till after you did Ordeals and you were already done with all those dungeons. So all the brutality of having to, like, route and reroute, totally gone, like, by the time that you do it. And then all the dungeons that you do after you get Warp and Exit, you don't really need them for. Like, the only one that's worthwhile is Waterfall.
Yeah.
Woo. So, yeah, so just the warp trick is very helpful. I think, honestly, that guide that we're starting to put together for the ducks, we might want to emphasize the warp trick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's
There's
written
a few
down.
little choice things like that need to be kind of emphasized a little bit.
I do know there's a guide on the wiki that specifically shows good places to use warp, so I would suggest double-checking the wiki and finding that. But, that one in particular is a really good one to have. I'm happy you managed to get this far through here. Please have an exit and just get out of here. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Never come back here. This place is evil.
Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible ice cave.
YouTube? There we go. We're happy to watch anyone's runs rehab. I know it's kind of scary having us talk about it and point out quote-unquote flaws, but at the same time, I went through this whole process when I was a duckling as well. It really does help to have someone just look at your stuff and be like, here's things that you could do, and when you don't even realize that it's a possibility.
Yeah.
I would have gone and done Volcano. Just me. Proximity. Yeah. Chests. Gear. Levels. Right now, John, your fighter, is the only one in any kind of position to survive anything. Which, in that case, if you just want to funnel all the experience on John, that's cool. Pop your ribbon on him. Let him be the guy that survives everything.
Jacob, do you remember in this flag set if you had the no incentive items in dungeons checked on or not? Because I still just want to know, because you fade a lot of chests in one dungeon, but check a lot in another one. Because Volcano, I don't think is incentivized, but you do a lot of checks in there. Is that just you looking for shards?
Which, if that's the case, check everything.
Yeah, just check everything. At that point.
Yeah, be a greedy loot goblin. I mean, you got the key. I haven't seen you go to the dwarf treasury yet or elf treasury. Like, be a greedy loot goblin. There's no doubt about that.
There are ways you can park at the river system there as well to save you some walking from that dock.
Yeah. When you have the canoe, you can park on rivers, which the game kind of trains you about when you're supposed to go to Ice Cave and Vanilla. But the randomizer doesn't train you in that because we make a bunch of connections so you don't have to think about it. You can park on rivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a bunch of chests you take, that makes sense. A lot of things in flags like this is proximity, like Darkman and I've been saying, routing and chest density. You know, Volcano's full of that. Yeah, the masa was gross.
Ew.
I was like,
I'd still use it because it's 50 base damage, but 11 crit. And you're like, ew.
Yeah. We use it and it's fine, but it definitely was not what we wanted to see. I did write down that was disappointing, and now, you know, it's a really tough choice of where do you go now. 26 minutes in, and you're like really running out of options.
Okay, gold is nice. Another shard. See, but that's the thing that we're emphasizing, and not to pick on you brutally about it, but you found a shard there. I understand you only want to hit the big spots, but between shards being confetti everywhere and another loose item somewhere out there in the pool, I kind of feel like you gotta check everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think okay, so you don't think Vulcan is incentivized? Yeah, but like it's a dense dungeon, so I get all the checks you did in there. It makes sense. Heal 3 is useful, and Viz 2 is fine. Level 4 magic was still, I think, not great, so your magic is pretty brutal, and again, that's not your fault.
Map check drink?
Yep, I did write that down too. Map check drink, yes.
That's our meme. It's not picking on you. It's just a meme we say when you check the map, take a drink.
Yep.
I'm looking for the maps so I can pass them off to you in chat right now. It is on there. It is location maps is what it's called on the wiki. Here is the link. And this is links for, like, it has routing of every single key dungeon where routing is actually important and it's not immediately obvious. So those are helpful. We put those together like a month or two ago, and they're useful. Like, in this particular one, silly as it may be, and I get flack from other vets about this, if you walk to the left to check the red treasury instead of to the right to check the treasury, going past where the TNT dwarf was, you technically save a step. Does that step really matter? In a race, it might.
It might.
It might. That whole fraction of a second you saved may matter.
You do a lot of the key checks here, which is great, but again, you leave your boat in a location that's really not ideal to have to walk back to.
Because you didn't realize, and that's fair.
Yeah.
You learn.
Yeah.
Also,
these are things you learn and you don't do it again.
If the, and I don't know if they are in this flag set, but if the tiles are randomized, I really should have paid attention if they were or not. If the tiles are randomized, then you might want to check what the tiles are, the enemy tiles are in Astos to see if there's a grind worthy of taking. Even just some eyes to get you up to like level 18, 19 to get a little extra survivability before the next dungeon you go to could be useful. Also, just to point something out in case you didn't know, and even if you did know, I'm going to point it out again, you can walk on and off of river tiles without getting an encounter. So you can walk on and off them all day back and forth. Make sure you maximize your on and off river tiles when you're navigating the overworld.
Yeah. And you're saving at that river tile there a lot. So obviously, you know, you can do it. Right now would be an opportunity if it's me. I'm going to the river on the outside of the inner sea. The inner sea is done right now. You've done everything there. We're not going back to Marsh. You can save yourself time by being at the outer river dock over there by Crescent Lake.
Yeah. Rich saying in chat to watch Crab Cakes when she's playing. Watch Crab Cakes, watch Entroper, watch a couple of other our vets like Chanigan. If they say anything of value, like, if they say anything, it's going to be of value. But if they say anything while they're playing, listen to what they're saying. That's vitally important. Even just watch other people play to see what they're doing that you may not do, and maybe raise questions with them that they can talk about after they're done racing. Most of us go and hang out in the... Oh, so nice. Now you're up to 12. 26, it looks like, is the base... Or 28 is...
24, 28, yeah. 24 with 4 lines of 6 and then 4 more, yeah.
Yeah, 28. Most of us will go and hang out in the post-race spoiler discussion on the Discord, so that you can ask questions. And if we don't show up immediately in there, just ping us and we'll show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Question from Rhea: how often do you check the map in proxy? I take a screenshot of the map, and I keep it up on my second monitor because I'm horrible if it's not the vanilla map.
I made a tool in Photoshop because I'm a graphic design geek. and I made draggable icons for everything, and I'm gonna emphasize something else in a second. But I made draggable icons, and I'll take a screenshot, blow it up 6 times, slap it into my Photoshop utility tool, and then as I'm exploring, because I take the screenshot of the map itself with like the dots glowing, so I know where they're all supposed to be. I'll then drag my icons over the dots, so I progress the map as I'm going. So technically, I'm checking the map the whole time. You just don't see me doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing to emphasize, and you will see this in a lot of the maps that I drew, is that the lava tiles do not get you encounters, so you want to walk on as many of them as possible. I understand this feels bad, because you're taking damage. Take the damage. The damage is better than taking fights.
Yep. Damage is fast. Fights are not.
Fights are not. Like, that's the thing of... you lose 10, 15, 20 seconds when you get into an encounter, and you lose maybe a couple seconds walking over you lose a few seconds of damage that you have to heal, but it's so much faster to heal than it is to take the encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you have the canal and you have the tail. If Bahamut Dock is on, I would have class changed already, because you have, I think, like, Dragon Armor.
It is not on yet.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Then that explains that, then.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I was wondering the same thing at this point. We got a class change by now.
Honestly, even if I know that the docks are off, I still half the time go and sail past them just to verify in my face that they're off, you know?
Well, you would have done it when you went to Ordeals.
Right? That's exactly what I would have swung past and like, oh look, it's not on. Okay, let's continue on to Ordeals. Yeah.
So this is a bit of a dicey Kelly fight. She's not to be completely disrespected. You know, you get there eventually, but she's spooky sometimes.
I would keep busy because she can be bad sometimes, and you're not exactly cranking out a ton of damage. I mean, the Mazamoon's doing okay because it's still 150 base, but yeah. You made it through. It was fine.
Yeah. So we're up to, what's that, 16 shards?
I think so.
Yeah, no more left.
Long map check. This is just comes from experience of learning the map so you know where to go and having it in your head. I don't know if you play with a tracker. For now, you should play with a tracker so you know what you have and where you can go. Emo Tracker's great for that. Even play with like the auto tracking map tracker on, even though you can do that for duck stuff, but eventually in like real other tournaments you're not going to be allowed to. But play with it on for now until you get used to it, and then train yourself not to use it, because at a certain point you're not going to be allowed to. I don't know about Luffy, but I don't even play with a tracker at all at this point. Every once in a while it bites me in the ass, but I'm much faster when I'm not looking over at something else to click buttons.
It depends. Yeah. Usually I'll just track if I have an entrance and floor shuffle going on.
Yeah. Oh, Chanigan's sharing the trackers link from the wiki. We do have those. It's on the wiki. Always do that. Chanigan, auto tracker for the win. The auto tracker for just tracking items is allowed in races. It's only the location tracker that we usually say is not. So even if you can't play with the location tracker in a regular race, you can still have it tracking your icons for you so you don't have to spend the time clicking. Which, honestly, I don't know why I resist doing it. I think it's just because I'm trained not to look at a tracker at all now. I don't even look at the tracker when I'm supposed to be tracking races for, like, layout, you know? I'm just like, I can't be bothered, whatever. They'll keep up, it's fine.
I love the murder of the old man on the way in, by the way.
He had it coming. Oh,
so, yeah. Stone touch Argoyles are cute.
Okay, so how do you track this in your head? Because right now I'm sitting there going, okay, down, then what? What's my next step?
Yeah,
also,
I'm doing the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Same as you say, like down. You know,
down one, down up, or something.
Yeah. I used to say left and right for the ones that are off center, but my co-op partner would yell at me, so now I do say up and down.
Also, that chest that you checked here on this floor is a linked chest to a chest up top. Don't check it down here. Just check it upstairs. I see we're stuck in a loop. If you knew that you could use warp, you could warp back between the columns. which would save you a lot of time here and a lot of steps. Saving steps is the best way to save time.
Well, the maze was not too bad. You made it through. Okay,
yeah, you got
though.
through. It's fine. You can avoid taking this fight a second time if you stay up the step up. You actually can go around it.
The one time you do not want to walk in front of a door.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the rest of that wall, I don't think you can get an encounter on, but that specific door is trapped.
Yep.
So, see, there was a link chest right there. And the float. See, what did we say? What did we say?
Yep.
Everyone's like, no, you guys shouldn't go to Ordeals first. You should go do Earth Cave or check some other people. And Luffy and I are like, no, we're going to Ordeals.
Yep. I wrote down in my notes, always bet on Ordeals.
Always bet on Ordeals. That's rule number one. I think I wrote that in the guide. Always bet on Ordeals.
So now we're back to doing like the regular routing thing. You're sailing around a little bit. You're not sure where you are. I guess that floater definitely was a little out of place, and you're like, but you do okay from this point forward.
I think technically from that point it was faster to sail the other direction. But even saying that, I still sail to the right from Ordeals. I just do, and I know it.
I do too. I sail to the right.
You had the bottle, just as a point of order, where the floater picks up. If you fly straight down from there, you will immediately land right in front of Gaia on a safe spot. So when you have the bottle and you can turn it in, and you've already turned in the slab as well, do bottle, do slab before you come and do class change, because you're all in the same vicinity, and it's a fast route to do that.
Yeah, and if you sail south from the airship dock like that, and then hit Lefay, and you just sail east, and you go right over to Cardia here. You sailed the long way to Cardia.
Yeah. Second ribbon, that's lovely, thank you. And it's the incentivized ribbon because it made the dingle.
Yep, so that's a good thing. You found the second loose. See, we're not burned by leaving those boxes behind in the other dungeons, but definitely it could have gone bad, but it didn't.
To note, you have the dragon, which protects against fire, light, ice, and earth, versus the opal, which is not as good. It's the same, base-wise, it's the same protection, so when you see a -3 opal versus a +1 dragon, the dragon is going to be better, because it's the same base stats for both. Opal protects against lightning. Dragon protects against fire, ice, and earth. I think it's fire. No, it's fire, ice, and lightning. So it's better just in general. YouTube, what are you doing? Okay, hold on.
I will also say, you put that second ribbon on the black mage. That second ribbon needs to go on whomever your damage dealer is. If it's if it's the fighter right now at the Masa that they have, okay, great. If it's the ninja with the Masa, okay, great. But that second ribbon needs to be on your melee.
And honestly, I'm not throwing the ribbon on my white mage. There's your Oxyel, that's good. I'm not throwing the ribbon on my white mage until they have a life spell. I haven't seen life yet. Why am I wasting a ribbon on them when they can't actually do the one thing I need them to do, which is pick up my other person? I'd rather just have my person alive, you know?
Yep. We have in Life 2 we saw was level 6, but we have not bought it yet.
So another quick thing to speed up your play. You have, by the way, I think it's 8 more shards to go. Another quick thing to speed up your play is you put your saber bonk in your second slot. That is going to require an extra step of menuing than if your saber was in your first slot.
Yep.
Because you're going to be using it in battle, we presume. So you're going to want that at the top, or for some people, at the bottom, depending upon what they do. They like to have like their primary item at the top and then their secondary item at the bottom. That way they can quick menu between the two of them. Getting used to quick menuing, it's a hard thing, but that's an important thing to emphasize. And yeah, as Shanigan says, menuing will come the more practice you do. If that is true, I'm terrible at menuing in comparison to good players. My menuing is still faster now than it was a year, 2, 3 ago, so it comes with time. For me, I struggle with reading comprehension going at fast speed. Dyslexia really fights me on this. So it's a thing where I've gotten used to reading this game faster, but it's come with time. So, God, this is not a fun pack.
Yeah, the mummies were kind of gross as well.
Yeah. Gargoyles and the chime. Do we have cube yet?
We do not yet.
Okay. It's probably an ocean cave. Which, if it is, I would just go fight Kraken, get the cube, assuming the cube isn't loose. Oh, do we have loot yet?
We do not.
Well, that's a pisser.
Yeah, so we have Shrine, we have Oxyale, and we're going to Sea Shrine. That's the right choice. And Sea Shrine is incentivized for the ride you take. So it's vanilla too because of where you go. I do have questions of what you do after though, and I want to know why, and I'll wait for Dark to see it.
But okay, so you know your 8 swords from Go. 4 are on Kraken. That's how it always works. 4 are on Tia. So if I had my loot and my cube already, all I'm doing is fighting those 2 bosses, and I'm not even bothering to check chests. That's the point for me where I stop checking chests.
Yeah. Technically, if you have all your dungeon items, you can stop checking chests once you only need, 12 shards, because you can get all 12 from the bosses if you really want to do it that way. And that's a strategy that a lot of runners will do. They'll focus on finding those dungeon items to clear the dungeons and just get the shards from the bosses. Yeah,
clear all the chests you can early, get the items that you need, and then at a certain point, when you can just win by math, win by math.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've gotta learn where the boxes are in this dungeon. I understand that struggle.
Routing here,
While we're here,
routing on Mermaid Floor.
Here's another good spot for warp. Walking over here, getting this chest, and then warping back to the previous floor before then going through and clearing out the rest of this is technically faster than taking this walk all the way back. That was per Entroper, and as we said before, listen when Entroper says things.
Yeah. When Dad's talking, we're paying attention.
Yep. That's exactly right.
So right here, I'm yelling at the screen, why haven't you talked to Bubbles?
Yeah, Bubbles has 2 chests in her room. FYI, it's not just new players that forget that. I did the Final Fantasy Randomizer, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer crossover AP race this last Wednesday, and completely failed to go check her box because reasons. And it had a key item that my partner needed, so that was really dumb on my part.
So you get Bubbles here. The Pro Ring is useful. You throw that on the Knight, which is good. That adds a little bit of extra layer of defense. And then you do this, and I'm wondering why. Why bail on the dungeon? Why not go do Kraken?
No. Well, it's the same thing. You had Earth Cave that you could have cleared. Lich was down there. I know you lost the fighter. I still would have gone and cleared Lich. You had Harm 2X. It could have killed him. A few shots.
Chanigan, just wait about the save, Chanigan. We're gonna see something in a minute that I'm curious about as well.
Oh yeah, not saving.
And this is all This is great learning lesson because you don't get punished for it, but you sure could.
Yep. Yeah, you spend a me amount of time there looking at the menu, going, "What the hell am I supposed to do?" Just a very me amount of time. Like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do now?
So I think at this point you need 3 shards from boxes and 4 shards from Tiamat. And again, those trance mummies are so annoying for you.
So, but to emphasize, you needed 3 boxes from chests and 4 from Tiamat, or you needed 4 from Kraken, 4 from Tiamat, and the loot that you knew was in here.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to check any boxes, and that's the problem. And I've run into this myself. There might not have been shards in boxes here. Like, you're like, oh, it's the end dungeon, there's gonna be shards. Sure, probably, but mathematically, maybe not.
Makes sense. I understand why you leave to go and do Sky.
Hello.
Loot. That is good, but I mean, you could have got your 4 shards from Kraken there, like we're saying.
Yeah.
So you could have saved time and not have to open these boxes.
Yeah,
you could have just beelined right up there for the loot and then just done Tia and been done.
I'd skip the opal, but it's fine if you take it. There's the thing of never punished. You weren't punished here for this.
Yeah,
it's fine. You did fine. But there was a way to do it a little faster.
Yeah, and that's why we're looking, and we're pointing these little things out, and take it for what you will. You know, and your next seed, make it your own. Think about what we said, and put your own spin on it, and that's makes things fun.
You'll study the routing maps. You'll take the advice we gave you here. You'll think about these things, and then when you come in to do the next one, you'll be like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. I'm good to go. And you'll practice. It all comes with practice. You should have seen my first race. It was awful.
I was so happy the first time I cracked 2 hours. It was, it was fun.
The person I raced in my very first race finished the game while I was still on the Circle C trying to figure out how to get out of Marsh Cave. It was embarrassing.
We've all taken a whooping like that at some point.
It was bad. It was bad. So you don't have the ribbon on your fighter. I'm assuming the ribbons are on the 2 wizards.
They are on the mages still, yes.
You've got a saber bonk, and I don't even know if you've found fast yet. But
we have not.
Yeah, we have the saber bonk, and we have a damage deal that we're clearly going to be using, whether it's the thief or the fighter. And I might be very tempted by that thief with that katana.
We did not pick up the katana. By the way.
See, I would totally pick up that katana. But anyway, we have the saber bonk. I think at this point you have one on your life dealer, which you don't even have a life dealer, and you have one on your melee, and then you ignore everyone else. Like they're only serving specific purposes at this point.
At this point, if you had done the Bahamut thing into Lefane, you could have bought your life 2 as well at level 6 on your white mage now, and the thief being dead is fine. You're getting levels on the fighter, which is what you want.
Yeah.
But again, you're running from the trash fights in here. If you're taking trash fights at all early in the game, you should be taking them in this dungeon because that'll give you that survivability that Darkmoon talked about earlier.
This is what we're talking about when we talk about a walking grind.
Yep.
The end game dungeons, specifically Sky above all else, are very important because they have all the experience that you want and need. Especially when you have a character that's downed and that can funnel experience onto other characters. Like, that is the best way to get your experience. And you see, like, another problem. You're struggling to run from that fight because your thief is dead.
Yep.
You need life to be able to bring that thief up, and you need that thief. Chanigan also pointing out that on those rooms, you weren't getting the free steps because you were walking in the middle and the top of the room instead of on the bottom of the room. All these things come with time. Like, you're never going to get a fight in this room because it's all bottom steps. Walking here all day. Game don't care.
So right now we only need 3 shards, and we're continuing to check the boxes. We need to just beeline our way to Tiamat right now and heck the rest of these boxes.
The second I was down to 4 shards and I was in this dungeon, I'm fighting Tiamat and I'm ignoring everything else. Or I'm taking this fight because I want the experience off of it. Like, you're getting the worst of both worlds with the way you're clearing this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you're walking back to the steps every time after you clear one of these rooms. Warp. Just use warp.
We find that X-Cal, which is, nice. Now that fighter has a weapon, and we can keep that Masa on the ninja, and that's fine. But we did not pick up the katana, which is a better weapon, so don't sleep on that weapon. It outclasses the Masa right now by quite a bit.
So the thing about the X-Cal is it's great. It does, especially in the randomizer with bonus damage for type attack turned on, you're getting a ton of damage. In Winter Tournament, as Luffy and I both discovered, like, you can charge up your fighter to a decent level, and we're talking like mid-20s, early 30s, and swing that X-Cal, and you're getting almost black belt level damage out of them because of the type bonus. Yep. The trick is, you ain't getting that type bonus up against Chaos, because Chaos don't have a type. So he's just going to laugh at you, and you're going to have to saber that thing a bunch more. The sword to use in that particular instance is that katana.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we take Tiamat here. This fight is not too bad. After Tiamat, I have questions.
We will find out. Your fighter is not a great level.
It's okay.
It's okay.
But if we had taken those trash fights, that fighter would have around 500 HP right now, which would feel a lot stronger. At least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do not have fast and temper.
Yeah, no. Well, you have Saber, so technically you don't need the temper, although you are suffering a turn each combat that you have to cast on yourself, so temper would be nicer. But
Chanigan, I wrote that down. I was scared for Topher as well.
We have a whole list of trash fights to prioritize. While Luffy talks, let me go look them up on the guide that we are writing right now, and we will have posted eventually. We're writing a whole new player's guide to actually cover a bunch of this stuff. I will, fair warning to everyone, it's 50 pages. So you're going to want to read that in chunks and slowly memorize it and maybe come back and reference.
Here's that moment right here. We did not save.
Oh, no!
We did not save.
Oh,
and
God.
Right now, I am clenching for you right now.
Yeah, this could be a very bad fight. Okay, so hold on. Here we go.
You get away there, but that was super dangerous.
That could have been very punished. Okay, so you asked what fights to take. Hold on. Let me pause for a second. In Mirage Tower, vampires are good. Guards are okay. Cerebuses are cheap and effective popcorn fights. And by a popcorn fight, we mean that they're worth decent experience, and because they show up in packs, you get bonus experience on top of that. Cerebuses showing up in Volcano means they have low health when they reappear, and you have Ice 3, so they'll die like it's nothing. They're one of the best popcorn fights you could take in this particular instance. In Sky Palace, Eyes, Gurmedusas are fairly weak. They are weak to fire, but yeah, Nuke kills everything. Whiz Vampires, if you can get them in a pack, are nice. Fighters, if you can get them in a pack, they show up on the bridge. Those are good experience. Nachos, Naochos, I don't know why I said it like that. Naochos, those are good experience on the bridge. And then R-Hydras, especially with your Ice 3, they're a weaker and not as good of experience as some of the others, but with your Ice 3s, they'll die all day. So, those are really good fights to take in this particular dungeon specifically. You had, what was it, the Chimeras and the M1s.
Manticores.
The Manticores, thank you. I kept wanting to say Minotaur, I'm like, that's the wrong thing. Those are also decent trash packs. You are at the point where you needed experience, so even though there are key ones to focus on, just take them all. Take them all until you get your level.
Yeah.
There's really not a bad fight in Mirage.
There really isn't.
No.
There really is. I mean, maybe the sentry and guard fight can be annoying.
It can be annoying
and not worth taking.
You have Nuke.
Yeah, you had Nuke. You're probably fine.
About the only fight that I will always avoid in Sky Tower and Mirage, because they show up down there too, is the Nightmare Bad Men, Evil Men stuff.
Yeah, they're just gross.
It's a gross fight, and I don't ever feel like, because it takes so long to kill it sometimes, I don't ever feel like it's worth the experience that you get. I always run from that one.
Yeah, Nightmares always seem to have crazy evasion. You can never hit them, and like they'll die to an Ice 3 or a Nuke, but it's an annoying
They're not
fight.
worth it. They're like, Nightmares are a waterfall pack, which in my mind makes them a Sea Shrine pack. And while Sea Shrines there are some good ones in there, they're not as good as this one. Sea Shrine, you want to hit Naga and Waters, or the Seafood Party pack of Sea Trolls, Lobsters, and Sea Snakes. On its own, those enemies aren't good, but when you get a full pack of 8 of them, that's a popcorn pack again. And then the Gray Sharks and Big Eyes are the EXP Pinatas. If you can get those, take those.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we learn our lesson about saving there, and then we're going to do Lefane, and we don't need to do this, but we're doing it, and I'm with you because we still would like to see fast.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen temper. We're not sure really what's going on with our magic. What's our dungeon like? Your HP is in a really bad spot too because we don't have any houses.
Yeah.
Like it's just dangerous.
Yeah, you got to buy houses when you can. Superstore's on.
Superstore is on.
I could see it just by looking over when we were walking past.
Yeah.
Oh, you need that. Don't go. No, go get that roost
behind. Yeah. Do not leave that behind. That is very useful. You put that on your ninja in slot 1 and he's never getting hit.
You need that ruse. Everyone's screaming at you in chat. So, Superstore is on in this flag set.
Yes.
You should have been here earlier. The second you class changed, because our route was go to bottle, go to slab, go to class change. This is the one time I will, because Superstore is not always on, but this is the one time I will change that route slightly. I'd still go and do bottle, but then I'd go fly over to Bahamut and then fly back for Superstore after class change. Because you need to buy all your spells, and you've been going this whole time without Life, and Life 2 were in early levels. Like, you should have had those on you already.
You never checked level 3 white magic, and you did see the Life 2 at level 5, but you didn't buy it till now, and you could have had that quite a while ago.
You get fast, which you needed. That's good.
Yeah.
So, and we have Saber, and we should have had that ruse. Like, your end game would be so much easier, like, with that ruse stick. It's night and day. Like, that ruse stick and that katana, slap those both on that ninja and just let them go do their thing through the dungeon. They'll just kill everything. Happy katana murder spree.
I think we have 1 or 2 charges of fast at this point, Shanigan. It's not great, and we do not go and get temper. Temper is level 7 or 8 at Gaia at this point.
So we're gonna wander into Topher.
Yeah, we're going for it, and it's a mid Topher, which surprised me.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay, this is fine.
You still want ruse for the boss fights here. Oh, and walk along the upper part there of this hallway. Like, you did the right hallway. You want to take this because this is the shortcut. But there are those doors in those rooms, and you have to walk up to get around this little column divot here at the end anyway. Doors can't give you encounters, so you could have saved, quote-unquote, 2 steps walking along the top of the hall as opposed to the bottom of the hall. What are your suggestions for spells on the knight? I am going to get yelled at by some of the other vets, but I'm a save the frames kind of guy. If I don't have the knight when I'm going to Superstore, or when I'm going back to a town anyway, knight's going without magic. Now, I will buy anything useful on the knight, life or cure or whatever's available if I can. Good times. But I'm ruthless about not buying magic if I don't have it right in front of me. So. Yeah, Chanigan's giving a whole list. Life, Wall, Invis 2, Ruse, Cure 2, 3, 4. That's great. Totally true. All great spells to have for the knight. Do I usually buy them? No, because it takes time to go buy spells. Chanigan's gonna yell at me later, I'm sure. It's okay. So
we have one shot of fast here, and we're trying to save that for chaos. We don't have a whole lot of things going on right now.
Yeah, let's talk about what your strategy should be. So, if you had that Ruse stick, my suggestion would be Fighter up front with Ruse on, Black Mage behind them to cast Temper and Fast if they had the charges. In this particular instance, they don't have a lot either, but still. Ninja next and third slot, and we'll cover why in a second. I think, make a note, Luffy, that we need to discuss crit loops in the guide that we're going to talk about. Ninja in the third slot, and then White Mage in the last slot to try and encourage Kraken to not punch them. Kraken is going to, all the bosses, are likely going to fight you 50% of the time on the top slot, 25% of the time on the second slot, and about, quote-unquote, 12.5% of the time on third and fourth slots. So, if you have your fighter up in the first slot, and he's rused so he can't get punched, when Kraken more than likely punches him, he doesn't do anything, and it's just a wasted turn for Kraken, and you want those. Also, fighter has a lot of health and a lot of armor, so if he gets punched, more than likely he's surviving it when no one else is going to. Ninja in the third slot with the katana can do your damage. It kind of evens it out better. And the other thing to note is, let's say, for instance, all your other party members die, and you only have the character in the third slot. Third slot, and occasionally fourth slot, is kind of magic. The RNG table of Final Fantasy isn't really RNG. That's like most NES games. RNG is not really RNG. It runs off of a table, and the table populates at the start of the fight, and it's going to try and operate the same method through itself over and over again. It's goofy. But third slot can more often than not get itself caught into a repeating loop of the same steps of the RNG table. So there's a good chance you could swing at the bad guy, get crits over and over again, they try and do something useless, don't do anything to you, and eventually you're kind of killing them before they can kill you in an effective loop. That's why we usually put our person in the third slot. Now, to most effectively use this, you have Ruse on them, so we most of the time we try for that on a chaos fight. But crit loops are another thing to think about. It's an advanced strategy. You don't need to think about it maybe right now, but pin it in your mind for later, because it's something you're going to want to know when you're getting real deep into this game and organizing your thoughts. So, I'm really good at remembering to do that crap when I'm not actually playing.
So it looks like we also don't have a real decision on who's doing the damage. Right now that fighter's swinging pretty hard, but I think we still have the saber bonk on the ninja at this point too.
Ooh, and he missed. We need lock. I don't know if we have lock.
We did not buy it. It was level 2.
When you see your fighter who has good hits miss, that is a time where you're sitting there going, man, I really need to cast some lock to slow them down. Actually, we don't have them. What's that on?
Did he have it there at level 2?
Might have had it at level 2. I saw an L spell. I'll try and look it again. Stuff is going fast.
Oh, maybe it was Lightning 3.
Yeah, we'll check. Lock 2.
They do have lock 2.
They have lock 2, so they should be casting lock 2 the second they saw Kraken. Oh.
Yeah, that Cure 4 got me really worried for you at this point.
Yeah, so when you see your character miss against Kraken, cast a lock.
Mm-hmm.
When you see your character miss against any boss, cast a lock. Lock will slow them down enough to get at least a couple hits in. Maybe cast it 2 or 3 times if you're feeling saucy, but cast it. There you go. It's like you're listening to us.
Oh, we do have the Saber Bonk on the knight too. Okay, good. You have moved some items around, but that ribbon is still on both of the mages.
Yeah, with that Cure 4 in the fight, I feel like wasting spell charges on it for like damage isn't worthwhile. But you had a Brack stick, so maybe some cheeky Brack strats just for the hell of it.
Yep, I agree. Channing and pointing that out too.
Mm-hmm. Again, all stuff that you might not be thinking about right now, but it's good stuff to think about for later. There you go. You're through Kraken. Wow, some of your characters are really hideously low level.
Yeah, the levels were not outstanding. Just about 500 HP on the knight right now is scary.
I mean, bravo to you for going through with this. That's impressive. I would be sitting there going, I need levels! Spend a lot of time thinking here.
Yeah. You know, how much do we value wall versus fade? At this point, you know, it's probably fade.
You got 2 ribbons. At least for the final fight, make sure you put those ribbons on your melee or double melee, depending upon how you're thinking.
We do not.
No, you should. You should.
And we will moving forward, because we're going to point that out.
Yep.
Again, lock 2 is good.
I mean, I'd say you should move your gear around and everything, and then more often than not, I stupidly go into a fight against Chaos with my X-Cal on. I'm dang it!
Yeah, I've done it too.
Yeah. I've done it.
It's easy to say sitting here saying that. Trust us.
I've done it and lost in a race against you doing that. So
Tiamat was far less scary than Kraken. So that was good.
I would take both these fights. Worms are great experience, and you need levels. And rock galls are decent experience, and you need levels. Here we go. So we bonk, we swing, we wall, and we fast. We fast the fighter.
Yeah, we fast the fighter here. Fighter's got the X-Cal, and that's what we're gonna work on.
But we walled the ninja.
Yeah, I think if we're assuming that the dragon gives us enough defense, because the ribbons are both still on the mages as well.
I suppose it's fine.
Yeah, 7 hits, 100 damage is a little spooky, but the hits look nice.
I like the sped up remix of this song. We're doing okay. I think that was your last Tier 3. I might have just risked it and saved that for a warrior that needed it. And oh, no, you have more Tier 3. Okay.
Yeah, he's okay.
He's okay.
No more nuke. We're going to start doing
just
Lightning 3.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, you know he's not going to Cure 4, so every bit of damage you do is damage. Ooh, 7 hits for 38. Thank you, Chaos.
That's the X-Cal doing X-Cal things.
Yep. Woo! There's some Ice 3. That's going to be slightly... Well, 56. Slightly not better damage.
And 80 from Harm 3. Go figure.
Yep. There we go. GG's.
Hey, we get there. GG's. So...
Okay. So, lessons to learn.
Routing.
Make sure you know your spells.
Mm-hmm.
You got through. You got through in a final time of 125.02, I think. So it's not that you did poorly in any way, shape, or form. Like, depending upon who you're playing, even a performance like this could get you through a round or 2 of a tournament. Like, that's not to say anything bad against you.
Yeah.
But with better routing, you're shaving 15 minutes. You might even sub-hour this with good routing. So, Luffy?
I thought you did pretty well. Definitely think about the spell selections. Think about the placement of your gear. Your Saber Bonk was fine in slot 4. Your menuing was good with it, but you didn't move the ribbons to where they should be. You didn't take certain fights where you should have, but you know that's why we do the reviews. We kind of give you this advice, give you these tips, and you know you're going to be dangerous moving forward because
Yeah.
you're going to understand what you're looking for.
Yep.
I think you did a good job. I wish I had the flags so I could have read them a little closer. I had some notes about what was going on in dungeons with the things you were doing because I didn't know exactly what flags you were running. But overall, I think you did really well for a shard hunt.
Yeah, no, it went pretty well. It's not how I would have played it, but you got through. And I think how I would have played it just comes from experience of running a lot of shard hunt and just constant shard hunt's basically all we do in co-op tournament and AP tournament. So you get used to doing it a lot. So lets your inner loot goblin out basically. So yeah, but no, yeah. Those are the other things, is like work on your routing. If you're in a shard hunt, check more of the early boxes, get those out of the way. Figure out what your end game is going to be faster. That way you can get through it quicker. I think between just checking more boxes early and doing the routing things we point out, you definitely would have sub-houred this.
Yeah, you would have definitely saved quite a bit of time.
Yep.
If you had done ordeals early on, you would have been in the air at about 8 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, there's that
that
to think about.
Yeah.
That's that.
So, any questions? Any other points from chat? Anything else before we wrap this bad boy up? I want to thank
Thanks
Luffy
for joining us, everybody. Yeah, thank you, Darkman, for asking me to jump in with him.
The 50-page will be posted soon. The admins and so forth are editing it right now. And then we will probably post it for further feedback up on the Discord itself to get people to let us know about any other questions they have. Like, for instance, we need to mention crit loops in there, and there was something else that I said earlier that we should put in, but I can't remember what it was. Someone will tell me.
I wrote down crit loops and character placement.
Character placement is good, too. If anyone remembers any other points that we made here that I was like, oh, I need to make sure I write that down, please let me know on the Discord. That way I can make sure I write that down. Ping me if you want. We'll get that in there. And then as soon as everyone's had a chance to edit and make suggestions, then we will post it into the wiki and make it the new player guide that all the other documentation we have kind of hang off of. It's going to restructure the whole wiki in a good way. So we'll get that link out probably within the week. And that'll help everyone out more. And as I said, it's long. It's really long, but it covers everything. Have you ever wanted to know what the best route is to get through the early game? We discussed that in detail. It's everything. So, but yeah, any other questions from anyone? Anything else? And yes, the song is a banger, I agree.
Yeah, thanks for giving the VOD for us to take a look at, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope you learned something. It could definitely be intimidating to have some people look at your work and critique it a little bit, but we're only doing it because we care, and you're putting it out there because you want to get better, and that's the important thing.
We encourage this because you will always see things or hear things from others when they view it that you wouldn't have thought of you're on your own. I liken it to when I worked in radio years and years ago, and they would sit us down once every couple weeks and listen to just our talk breaks. And be like, you said this many times, you did this intro the same way every time, you did these things the same way every time. Don't do that. And you're like, oh wow, I didn't think about that until someone else pointed out that I was doing that. It's the same kind of thing. You don't think about something because you're just used to doing it, but somebody like, you could do this better this way. And you're just going, oh, I really could. And then suddenly you shave like 30 seconds off your runs. It's amazing. So yeah, it's just... anyone new or old can benefit from these kind of things, and it does take strength. And it's we're proud of you for actually putting yourself out there and saying you wanted to get a VOD review.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess we wrap this one up then. I will do the normal speech. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, come to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com, where you can get links to the Discord, the development Discord, as well as the Discord or the Randomizer itself, resources, the wiki, everything you need to learn how to be part of Final Fantasy Randomizer. The Duck Derby is still going on, or the Duck Bootcamp is still going on for another week. And then I think signups close, or have closed already, and Duck Derby will be starting up in 2 weeks. We will get scheduled for that out soon. We will get everything organized for that. Things are ready to roll. We just need to let the players know when they're actually playing. And then beyond that, we've got other stuff that's going on. The Lithenian League is coming up. That is going to be running alongside the Duck Derby. That is our async league with a lot of fun, crazy flags that Ale made. New and old players can play in that. It doesn't just have to be vets. So if you're a duck and you really want to like overload yourself, you could play both that and the derby. Not saying you have to, not even that I'm encouraging it, but you could. And then beyond that, we've got Summer Co-op coming, we've got Bingo coming, we've got our Marathon coming up in June, 3 days of all kinds of randomizers, all for a good cause. Final Fantasy Randomizer is always busy. Come be a part of it.
Yeah.
I talk a lot. From all the
I don't have much to say either. This is fun. Thanks for joining us, everybody. If you need anything, ping us in the Discord. We're hanging out. The new Duck channel is always very active.
Yes.
I try to keep an eye on that as much as I can. Just ping me if you need anything. And thanks for coming out.
Luffy, take us home.
Yeah. Y'all have a good night, everybody. Ciao and chillax. Final Fantasy Randomizer fam. We gone.